I know the last two episodes were very deep, and to lighten the mood, in this episode, we are talking about flowers. I have the amazing Erica from the Roaming Petal at Bliss Wellness Studio. She is sharing what a flower meditation is and the benefits. Because we were able to do the interview in person, the video will be on YouTube. The link for that is in the show notes. We also recorded a masterclass for practitioners who want to incorporate a flower meditation into their sound baths. Be sure to keep an eye out for that. After experiencing Erica's flower meditation, I am obsessed. I hope you enjoy this episode. You are listening to the Sound Therapy Network podcast, where we talk about all things sound healing. This podcast is for practitioners and clients who want to learn more about this magical healing modality. Welcome to the Sound Therapy Network podcast. I am your host, Niajae, owner of Bliss Wellness Studio in Tampa, Florida, and the creator of Somatic Sound Therapy. Today, I have a wonderful guest, Erica from the Roaming Petal. I'm so excited she's here. We're going to talk about flower meditations and the healing benefits of flowers. So welcome, Erica.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yes, I love it. So before we get into what a flower meditation is, I want you to share your story, a little bit about how you got into this and what really drew you to flowers.
Yeah, for sure. So this is a place I never thought I would end up, for sure. I'm originally a graphic designer by trade, so I worked in advertising for like 7 years, and I kind of was just sick and tired of sitting and staring at a computer screen day in and day out. It was really stressful. It was really fast paced. And so prior to COVID, I decided I wanted to go work remote and do kind of little remote work, eat, pray, love journey over to Bali, right? As one does usually. And so when I went over there, I had no intention of starting a new business or anything like that. I kind of was just focusing on what I really wanted to do with my career, and I wanted to keep doing graphic design and which ways I wanted to kind of do it. And while I was there, I basically just fell in love with how they used flowers kind of all over the island. There's a really beautiful way that they brought it kind of into their day-to-day lives, their ceremonies, their traditions versus like Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or a birthday, like we do here. Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to learn more about it. And so I started helping out at a flower shop there. I literally sat on the floor with these Balinese women every day, just making flower arrangements and learning about the flowers and learning about putting them together in really broken Bahasa and really like strange English, trying to have these conversations. But it was really beautiful. And what I found was it was really kind of relaxing. It was really therapeutic. It was creative, and it was hands-on creative again, which was something I was craving so much, having constantly been on my computer or on your phone or whatever it might be. And so it really was just bringing me a lot of joy and like de-stressing me. And so when I came back to the States, I started working a little bit in like wedding flowers, and I was like, nah, that's not the avenue. I was like, that's just as crazy as being in advertising. Like, and it wasn't even the brides, it was just like the fast pace, like they have such a short lifespan. So like you can't prep, so far in advance. You're making all these beautiful and big things, and it's just kind of a crazy stressful time to be in it. And I was like, this isn't the same joy and happiness and relaxing energy I was getting from when I was working with them in Bali. And so I started kind of figuring out like, oh, maybe we should start like bringing these to other people and teaching flower classes. And in that process, I started kind of diving down the road of, well, why are the flowers doing this for me, right? Like if it's doing it for me, it's probably doing it for other people. And I wanted to know kind of more about that. And there wasn't really a lot on the internet about, at the time, this was 2020, I guess, middle of COVID. And everyone needed plants at that time, right? Everyone needed flowers. And we were all stuck inside, but there wasn't really a lot of information. And I went out to a retreat actually over in Arizona with Deepak Chopra, like had a retreat going on at one of the centers. It was amazing, such a transformative week, like never cried and smiled so much in my life. But while I was there, I realized that like I had this energy in me to kind of use the flowers as more of a healing practice than just like a fun creative practice, which I loved and wanted to share as well, but how I could use them as healing. So we use sound, right? We use yoga, we use meditation, and how I could incorporate the flowers into that, because we all know nature is so healing in its own beauty, in its own way. And so I dove down the path of Reiki and got certified in that. I became a floral healer, so I took certifications in how you can use flowers, basically like art therapy, right? But with flowers. flowers, and then started combining kind of all of these things together in what we do now. And it's just a really beautiful way to like bring the flowers to life in a new energy and a new light that often we don't appreciate them in, right? We just get them and put them on the counter and, you know, go about our day. And it's beautiful when we see them, but we don't really realize like all the benefits and all the energy that we're really receiving and they're giving. And so now we kind of help people and guide them through connecting with that energy, connecting with themselves so that they can heal themselves not only in our sessions, but also take the tools that we teach there kind of with them so that they can do it all the time when they see flowers, either out in nature or in their home. So
I love it. I mean, I love the journey of just going to Bali and realizing how powerful they are. And I know a long time ago, very long time ago, I used to say, I don't like flowers. I used to say that.
I can't even believe that.
Because I love them now, but it was, honestly, I feel like I was very disconnected from my divine feminine energy, but also there was a process of them dying that made me really sad. And so like we sometimes associate like death with flowers because like you buy flowers at a funeral. And so there was like an association that I didn't want to look at, but I think I went through like a dark night of the soul. And then I started to appreciate that life and death process. And now when I purchase bouquets, I take them to the water and I put like the rose petals or like whatever flowers like in the water and I'm gifting it back to the earth and that feels so much better to me. So I feel like I have my own little meditative process with the bouquets. But if someone's like, what is a flower meditation? What would you say?
Well, first off, I love that you give them to the water because I always say like, I do the same thing, but I always tell people to like just decompose of them in your backyard, right? Like go outside and just give them back to the grass and the earth. They came from there. You're not littering. It's literally going back into the earth. I hate throwing flowers in the garbage. I either dry them and save them forever or like, give them back to the earth because that's such a beautiful way to like, just let them go in their natural cycle and then they can come back around, right? So flower meditation is really about just being mindful and present, right? With the flowers. There is beautiful energy and wisdom in stopping to smell the roses, right? And often we're running around like crazy. We're going from place to place. We're in meetings. We're talking to people. We're picking up kids. We're doing activity. We're at work. We're on our screens, our phones, whatever it might be. And we don't just stop, right? And be still and be present and really connect with the nature that's around us. We're not all graced to live in beautiful wooded areas or in forests or things like that. So sometimes it's hard to go on a nature, right? We know that's soothing to go on a nature walk and do all these things. We can't always be in those places, right? In our busy day-to-day lives. And so the flower meditation is really powerful because you can do it anywhere, literally at any time. It doesn't have to be with flowers that you purchase. It can be with flowers that are outside that you see and pick, right? Springtime, so you can always pick flowers. It can be with a plant, but it's really about calming yourself down, breathing, focusing, and we like to go through all of our senses. So really engaging one at a time is really important because often we're like, let's touch and taste. Like how many times do we eat and look at our phone or watch TV? And it's like, what are we doing? Like just be and eat, just eat and like look at your food and smell your food and taste your food, right? And it's always like you have to be doing something else. And so this is really about slowing all of that down so that we can relax, right? We can help to rebalance and reset our nervous system so we're not constantly in that fight or flight. And so we really like to go through all the senses. So from breathing to then looking and just like seeing what you see in front of you, what's in the flower, right? The beauty, the flaws, all of the things about the flower, smelling the beautiful flowers, right? It often reminds us of a person or a place or a time, touching it, noticing how it feels, and not just on your fingers, but on your hands, on your arms, on your face, and really connecting with it in ways that we often don't do, and noticing how that makes us feel. Right after, and then I always like to bring it to our hearts, right? Where we can then do a meditation that focuses on either setting an intention or healing something that we're trying to work through, and focusing on whatever that might be, but really bringing it close to our body so that we can feel and connect with the energy, just like we're people, right? We have energy. The flowers have beautiful energy. So whether you know it or not, you're receiving their energy just being around them, right? And so it's a really beautiful way to just stop and connect and notice how you feel and notice if there's messages or things that come through that can help you or guide you or answer questions that you might be facing or struggles you might be going through or just words of wisdom. So it's just a really beautiful way to stop and smell the roses.
I love that. And it's helping with being present and it's helping with embodiment because we're so go. We're in that autopilot mode. So stopping and checking into your senses, like its embodiment. Like, what does it feel like if I touch it, if I brush it along my arm? So yeah, it's such a beautiful process. I had the honor of experiencing one of your flower meditations at an event that we did together, and it's true that we don't stop and just like savor the moment. So I love that. And I do know that roses have, like, I forgot the exact hertz. I think it's like 342 hertz or something like that, like the frequency. But what are some of the benefits of other really popular flowers?
Yeah, so they all kind of have different things, right? A lot of them are good for more like aromatherapy purposes, right? So like a lot of people use chamomile as tea, but we often bring it into our ceremonies too, because just smelling it, right, or having it around, same thing with like eucalyptus is really great for that. There's tons of different, I honestly don't really dive into a lot of the really specifics because they change too, from like basically like Chinese medicine to our medicine, even in the countries, right? Like some people believe that like white flowers are purity, but some people believe other things about them. Like, so it's different depending on where they are. A lot of the benefits though come from really just like the aroma of it, right? So if you want to feel more relaxed, or the colors, right? So like yellow brings out really joyous happiness, right? A lot of times we use the pink in passion, right? Pink for passion or friendship and things like that. The white a lot of time is if you're trying to go through like a purification, right? You're releasing something, you want to be more pure. So I kind of focus more on the colors than like the actual, there's tons and tons of things behind them.
You can probably go down a rabbit hole.
Yes, and there's like tons of books and I have like all these like dictionaries of like flowers and meanings and like, and they all have different, that's also, it's like so funny because you get one book and then you get another book and it's like the rose means this here and then it means this here, which is why I don't try to like really share or practice it too much. It's more about like whatever message comes to you from them, like what you need in that moment. It could be different from time to time too. Like I could look at this rose today and feel one thing, but like if I look at it in a week from now, I might be going through something completely different and something else might come to me. So I like to tell people like intuitively, there's no right or wrong. Like whatever you're feeling and whatever message, whatever you need in that moment, in that present time, that's exactly what it's going to give you and that's exactly what you need. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's the same thing with like astrology. You have like Vedic astrology, you have numerology, you have human design, you have gene
so
keys. Like,
yes, you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, what? Okay, now I don't know what to listen to or think. Yeah.
What is your favorite flower?
Ooh, so purple orchids are my absolute favorite. I know purple is your favorite color too. So yes, I absolutely love them. I had a great honor of seeing amazing amounts of them when I was in Singapore like a few years ago. And yeah, they're just so beautiful. I never use them in arranging because like you have to literally cut them from their beautiful plant. And that like hurts me so bad. And I'm also terrible at keeping them alive, which is like a whole other thing. I do love them and wish the best for them. But yeah, I don't know why. Like it's just, cut flower is great. Like sometimes the plant's a little different, but yeah, purple orchids are my absolute favorite.
I've recently discovered like the hanging orchids when they're not like in a pot, and they're the most beautiful thing.
And I think orchids come in so many different colors and like shapes and sizes. Like there's big ones, there's small ones, they hang, it's like crazy. And so yeah, they're just, I feel like so unique and so beautiful in so many ways that yes, I love them so much.
Yes, I love it. So there's a lot of practitioners that listen to this podcast, and I know that I incorporate flowers in like some of my special events here or there. But if there's a practitioner listening that has never used flowers in their sound bath, what would you say are some benefits of incorporating, or like if they're like, I don't really know a lot about flowers, like how could they get started and what are some of the benefits?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, always having that aspect, I think, of nature, right, just naturally helps to change vibrations of the room, right? You're already doing so much with the sound that you're cleansing people, right? And you're aligning all the chakras with the vibrations of the bowls. But nature, right, just in the same way that the bowls have frequencies, like you said before, the roses have a really high frequency. It's one of the highest frequencies, like literally on earth to be around, and you just have to sit like this. Like we don't have to do anything. So just having that in the room with you on top of what you're already doing, right? It's gonna help to really reset. Same thing, like all those chakras, all the nervous points in our body that are constantly going crazy, and you know, we don't really feel great when our nervous system isn't in line. And you know, you're soothing already doing that. So I think just bringing in elements of nature, same thing like if you were to do a sound bath outside, right, and like sit in the grass and ground, right? It brings in a whole other level of grounding your body and rooting you down into the soil, into the earth. So the same thing when you bring in the flowers kind of into your room and you kind of use those in such a beautiful way, and it makes it look beautiful, right? It always brightens up. Who walks into a room with flowers and is like, this looks awful, right? It always makes the space prettier. And it doesn't have to be like a crazy amount. Like you can just bring in some roses, just sprinkle some rose petals around, right? On the mats or on the pillows or around the area that you're doing sound in. Maybe just place a bloom. A lot of times when we do the meditations, we make bouquets after, but you can also just place like a flower. Like if just every pillow or every blanket has a rose on it or has a flower on it, and when they come in, they can lay with that flower on their body, right? It's just a beautiful way for them to bring in just another way to help heal them, even more so than they were already getting before, so that they can leave feeling even better after they enjoy it. So
yeah, I love that. I think it's a really great thing to add in. Anytime I do like a couple session, I put rose petals around the room. If I do like a birthday party for women, like I'll put like one flower on each mat and let them take the flower with them. So that's definitely a great way to incorporate nature, extra grounding in the sessions. And I think for me, buying myself flowers, beyond just the energy of it, it was an act of self-love. And when I started connecting back to myself, back to my divine feminine energy, because we lose that connection, especially being entrepreneurs, like business owners.
We're constantly in the masculine. And
constantly in the masculine. So if there's a woman that is feeling disconnected from herself or her feminine energy, what would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think flowers help us with that so much, right? And it doesn't even have to be an act of like going and buying them, like literally just like stopping on a walk and seeing the flowers outside and just looking at them for a minute, maybe picking them on the side of the road also helps to bring in some of that just like childish, right? Playfulness, that joyfulness. I remember I used to pick dandelions and always bring them into my house, right? When I was a kid, my dad used to be like, those are weeds. Stop bringing weeds in the house. And I'd be like, they're so pretty, right? So then like now that I got it as an adult, I was like, I can't cut that. It's a weed. Why would I bring it in the house? But like, no, that's just a beautiful flower still, right? So like, you don't always have to feel like you have to buy it too. But also I feel like gift someone flowers. Like if you feel like you don't want to buy them for yourself because it feels silly to buy it for yourself, there's a lot of healing energy in gifting someone flowers as well. It's just like when you go and you donate, right? Or you volunteer, you feel good, right? About yourself, and you're going to receive just beautiful benefits too. And it helps to bring out, you know, that feminine energy of like, I made this flower arrangement for you, right? And crafting with them. We're always about helping people arrange them as well. So it brings back that creative focus, but also some of that feminine energy that like we don't often do when we're in our business days or we're in work and we forget to like, oh, just play with the flowers and create them. So I always encourage people to go out, pick flowers, buy flowers, bring them home and do something with them. Like create an arrangement. It doesn't have to be like this crazy, elaborate, beautiful thing. Even if it's just unwrapping some blooms and putting them together. And, you know, if you feel like, I don't want to keep this and you want to gift it, that's just as beautiful and just as healing for you. And, you know, maybe you keep one stem and put it in a bud vase and then you're reminded of that beautiful gift you gave to someone as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely an advocate of that self-care because we got to pour into our cup.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would invite anyone listening, if you do feel like it feels silly to purchase flowers for yourself, like lean into that, because I think especially women, we're programmed to do for everyone else and we forget about ourselves and we can't pour from an empty cup. So fill your cup with flowers.
Yeah, I love that. For
sure. Even if it's just, you know, like Trader Joe's is really great with like $3.99 bouquets.
Yeah,
so less
really
than $5. It's like a cup of coffee, you know?
Yeah, and you're already there. Like that's the thing I always like to tell people too, is like, we're not like go to this crazy like market and buy all these exquisite flowers.
Yeah,
like,
no, it doesn't have to be that.
You're at the grocery store, you're buying eggs, you're buying milk. Just make it part of your weekly routine that you pick up a bouquet of flowers, right? Like it doesn't have to be this whole crazy thing. Like make it easy and simple because we don't have the time.
Yeah.
And like we want to make that time easy for us so that we don't feel intimidated by it. We don't feel stressed by it. It's not meant to be a stressful practice where we have to like make all this time to do it. Then when you're unpacking your groceries, you unpack your roses, you unpack your flowers, whatever it might be, right? You'll notice really simple, like tiny shifts. Like if you do that every week and you start picking out flowers every week, like you're gonna get excited when you go to the grocery store because you're like, oh, I have to go grocery shopping, but I'm also getting flowers, right? And then when you come home and you place them on your counter or you gift them to someone, right? Maybe you put them in your bathtub, maybe you take a bath, right? You sprinkle them in there, or you just give them back to the earth, right? Whatever it might be. You're gonna notice like really small just shifts happening mentally that you're gonna be like, oh, wow, this is bringing so much joy when you see them in your home every week, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like we really need to have them around us all the time because they're so beautiful and they give us all that energy, whether we're working with them, looking at them, or not. Just having them in your home is really going to help too.
Our somatic sound therapy training and mentorship is your all-in-one guide. It offers trauma-informed training, somatic training teaching you sequences for both one-on-one and group sessions, and offers business support. This mentorship is everything you need to start, maintain, and grow your sound therapy practice with safety protocols, true compassion, and integrity. The training is virtual and self-paced with a full year of support and accountability. Enroll today and step into your purpose as a trauma-informed somatic sound therapy practitioner.
Yeah, and it raises the energy of your home.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I've actually witnessed putting flowers in different rooms. And I remember had a roommate at the time, and like the flowers that were in the common area died faster than the ones that was in my room. But you know, I have all my crystals and my sound bowls and everything. So like it helps absorb negative energy in the room. So they serve so many benefits.
I always tell people to like place them on your nightstand or like your dresser, because often most people look at their phones as the first and last thing, right? But if you look at nature, it's actually proven that like it helps to ground you in the morning and when you go to sleep at night. So you're going to sleep better and have a better rest if you look at that flower before you go to bed, or those flowers in your bedroom, right? And you wake up and you look at those first. Like I always open my eyes and look at my trees in the morning sometimes, because like my window has trees outside, and it just helps your body so much, and you don't have to do anything crazy. Just open your eyes and look at them, right? Like that's not stressful, that's not hard. You can do it. Like you already have to open your eyes for the day. But just placing them in your bedroom, right? I always have them in my bathroom, my bedroom. Like the office is a really good place too. Like your desk, like especially if you can't get outside or you're stuck in your office or wherever it might be, or you can't make it to your yoga class or you're meant to, like it's sometimes stuff just happens, right? But if you put flowers on your desk, it's easy. You're stressed.
And it's absorbing some of that EMF too, like all the tech devices. So because the frequency, I honestly feel like we need all the tools these days. We need all the tools.
Everything around us. Put plants in your desk, put flowers on your desk. Listen to the binaural, right? Beats while you're working, like all the things.
We need it all.
100%. I agree. And it's like, it's sometimes sad. I'm like, maybe we need to just like go back to like living in the woods, because we have all these like crazy things that we're trying to like get back to it in such a weird way. We're like, let's bring the energy inside of nature. It's like just go outside and sit in the grass. But it's, unfortunately, like that's not always accessible, and it's not always that easy to do. So like there has to be other ways that we can do it. And I think flowers have that really, really strong way of us being able to do that in a really beautiful way too. It's not like it's an ugly, thing that you're looking at. It's like, it also looks pretty.
I love putting eucalyptus over my shower head.
The aroma is so good. And if it starts to lose its scent too, if you like start to like brush it in your hand, it'll bring back like the oils in it. So and then smell your hand, because your hand will smell like amazing.
Love that. I didn't even know that.
I know. I love eucalyptus. I use eucalyptus oil and like peppermint oil for like everything, but I always have eucalyptus around.
Same. Okay, so if someone's like, all right, I'm excited, I want to get some flowers, I don't know where to start, I don't know how this meditation works, like how do you help people tap into that?
So we do in-person classes and we do online classes as well. So our in-person classes are obviously kind of like what we do together, right? Where people can come in and they can experience either pairing with sound, pairing with another wellness modality, or they can just come and we do our own private classes where we do private sessions for groups of people, or we do public classes where they can come, corporate events where, offices need to have these things going on, bringing people into your office, right? Sound is a really good thing to bring into offices, yoga, where we go and bring basically like all the flowers on site there. And then we guide them through kind of everything we just talked about, right? With the breathing, with the sight, with the smell, the taste, and arranging them. Our really big goal is to help people like put them together and arrange them as well. But we also do it virtually. So we also have online course options where you can learn how to meditate with the flowers. You can learn how to make bouquets, make arrangements, do crafts. We're all about like saving the flowers too. So like even if you don't want to give them back to the earth and you want to dry them, you can save them and preserve them. And we show different ways that you can do crafts with them.
So like an online tutorial on how to do that?
Yeah, so we have a monthly membership where every month we do 2 different flower arrangings, we do a craft, we do meditations, we do journaling, we do affirmations, and all the whole month is basically just focused around a theme of whatever that month might be, and it's all about just bringing flowers into your day-to-day life, right? So that you can really reconnect with it in a really simple way. We lay it out for you every single week, so like all you have to do is just like log in and see what's there, and you can come to classes live. They're recorded, so whatever you kind of want to do with them, you can enjoy it either way, but it's all just about making it easy for people to learn and have a way to bring them more into their lives and enjoy them, so that it helps people as well.
Yes, I love that. So what would be a journal question that you would have in there? Because I'm a huge advocate for journaling.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm trying to think, like this month we're focusing on nourishment was I'm trying to think what month we're in. Like it's still March, right? I know today's spring, but it's still March. Yeah, and so this month's focus is nourishment. So all our journal prompts this month are focused around nourishing yourself. And so I'm trying to think like what one of our journal prompts I think this month was, think of a way that you can use flowers to nourish your own body, right, in your home. So whether that could be anything, right? It can be having them at home, right? It can be putting them in your bath. It can be looking at them on the side of the road, right? But thinking of a way that you can use them to nourish your body, right? Or nature. It doesn't have to be flowers. Our focus is always like it can be plants or trees or whatever it can be, because they all have the same beauty, right? And so so that's kind of one of the topics this month is nourishment, how they can nourish your soul. They get deeper, they get more complex, they go from all different craziness depending on the time of the year and month you might be in. But yeah, that's just kind of an example of how we kind of bring it in and align it.
I love it. Have you ever had a man do a flower meditation?
Yes, we have. I actually love when men come to like all of our things, because I feel like often it's not the norm, right?
Yeah.
For our industry, especially with flowers, right? Everyone always is like girls, women, right? But honestly, men receive it. I think the reward is almost even more because they're so disconnected from it, and it's so opposite and it's so unusual for them. Like they haven't experienced what we've experienced with flowers their whole lives sometimes, right? I've had men tell me like, I've never been given flowers before, right? And there's actually like a crazy statistic that's like 80% of men never receive flowers until they die. And I'm like, that breaks my heart.
Wow.
And so I think, the healing is almost a little bit greater for them, and it's almost more eye-opening because they're not as familiar with working with the flowers in that way. As most people have no idea like what floral healing is and like how to work with them. But them even more, because it's a little bit more out of their realm of life. But it's really beautiful to see, because a lot of times they come in and they're kind of like, not intimidated, but like a little scared or a little nervous. They don't really know what's going to happen. And because we teach, meditating with it, but also like arranging with it, because we're all about the mindful, like crafting and creating with it. Most of them have never made a bouquet in their lives before, but then they're so happy because then they're like, oh my God, I know how to create this now. And a lot of them go back to like their girlfriends, their wives, their partners. And then like I hear afterwards, like, oh, like now when he's at the grocery store, he, instead of just like giving me the plastic thing and like, right, wrapped up, he picks flowers and puts it together for me.
Oh, I
and I'm
love that.
I love that. Like that makes me so happy.
Right?
And so I think, it's always beautiful to see. I would love for more men to come and experience it.
Especially any girl dads. Like,
It's just a beautiful way to tap into your feminine energy too. Like, we all need to have a little bit of each going on to balance us. And I think it's just a really easy way. Like it's really easy. It's practical. You learn a skill that you can use over and over again. So it's not like a waste of time for them, right? And it's healing you as well. So like, and you can use it over and over for your friends, your family, right? The other ladies, any ladies you have in your life who I'm sure would love to receive flowers, right? Even if you don't want to make flowers for yourself, it's okay. You can make them, like I said, and give them to other people. Like if you showed up, my guy friend showed up in my house with flowers, I would be like, oh, that's so sweet, right? You would be so happy. So I think it's a beautiful thing to have men and women come and experience it for sure.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, any last moment tips on incorporating flowers into your life?
I think just be creative with it, right? There's no real like right or wrong. I think they have the energy there already, right? It's just like how you want to utilize it and how you want to bring it in. Like I infuse Reiki and stuff into it because I'm certified in Reiki, right? If you're not, you don't have to do that, right? That's not how it maybe calls to you. So I think just like have fun with it. Don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. Just start and see like what feels right to you. And if it doesn't feel right and you're like, then don't do it, right? There's no like, you don't have to do it this way, you don't have to do it that way. I think just being aware of like the beauty and the energy and all of the things that they can bring in to the session is just the first part. And then just having them there and letting people tell you, like, don't force it on them and be like, this is going to do this for you, because it might not.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be upset that they didn't feel a certain way. And you're going to be like, oh no, I did it wrong. And it's like, don't just like let them tell you how it feels. Like we always open up at the end for people to share, because everyone's experience is always different. Even though we're guiding them through the exact same meditation, right? They always have different things that come through. And so I think that's really important, is to just let them share what they felt and let them know that that's right, because that's what came for them and that there's no right or wrong there for them. So
Yes, I love it. So where can people find you online?
So our Instagram is great. It's just at the Roaming Petal. We also have our website, which is theroamingpetal.com. That has our petal tribe on it as well, where you can do all those fun little crafts and flower arranging and meditations virtually, as well as our in-person and private bookings and things like that. So whether you want to come in person and do a class and do your own class or go online, our website is theroamingpetal.com.
Very cool. I will have the links in the show notes. Thank you so much for taking time to share, and I love everything that you're doing. So keep at it. And she's a Capricorn too, so
yes, I know, very similar energies over here.
So she works super hard, super creative. Everything you create is beautiful. So just keep at it. Keep shining your light in the world.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm so grateful to be on here today and chatting about it. So thank you for having me.
Yay, thank you for being here.
Yes, and I always like to say, have a bloomingful day.
I love that.
Thank you so much for listening to the Sound Therapy Network podcast. Edgar Cayce says, sound is the medicine of the future. The future is now. By listening and sharing this podcast, you are contributing to the wave of healing in the world and safety in the healing space.